Listen, I have an idea.
It's how I feel when you make lemonade. Whatever today has given you. 511 headaches, still call it Thanksgiving. True.
Welcome to another edition of the Super Dupa podcast. I'm your host, Rob Griggs, here with the super producer, as McMahon.
Yes. What's going on, Rob? How you doing, man?
I'm good, my man. How about yourself?
I am doing all right, man. Glad to be here.
Hey, is that the Bulls White Sox hat? They flip. You know how they flip the team?
Yeah, this is what do they call it? The city.
Yeah, but I'm asking because I thought you denounced those for whatever. I feel like we talked about
No.
this.
I didn't like the White Sox Bulls version.
So what?
This is a Bulls hat.
Got you, but it's the White Sox version, right?
No, this is the Bulls. This is the Chicago from the 70s and early 80s.
Oh, then we're talking about two different things. I thought it was that city version. That's why it
No,
looked like
no.
That's why I was asking.
This is
because
Bulls.
I thought it was a Sox hat. You know what I'm saying?
No. This is Bulls.
Hat.
No, this is a straight
Okay.
Bulls hat.
So we still a man of your word. Thank you for checking out the Super Duper podcast. We do not take your listens lightly. Make sure you follow us on all.
I don't know. Wait, I don't know why I'm wearing it, but that's another story.
I mean, yo,
Sorry.
that's a whole listen.
Sorry.
That's
Yeah.
I need to jump on y'all pod just complaining about the Bulls because why do we have a team? Thank you for checking out Super Duper Pod. Make sure you follow us on all socials. SUPADUPAPOD. What up, Sarah? And online at HU53productions.com for our Herch with additional content with our own Ez McMahon, the Easy Smoking GM podcast, and soon to come, Dr. Williams and his own podcast, The World's Public Report. Yeah, man, it's the NBA trade deadline just passed, and the Bulls still doing the Bull stuff. I think I low key think they just like do enough to stay competitive, but just enough to save some money. You know what I mean? Because they still selling out. I just feel about the Bulls. It just
they traded everybody for second round picks.
it's like, what are we doing? You know what I'm saying?
got-
And guess what? Guess what? If somebody offers me a Bulls ticket, guess what? I'm going. I'm going to the game.
That's the problem.
Yeah, I should just we should all boycott, but
That's the problem.
it'd be good enough to.
No, that's the problem right there. See?
Yeah.
And y'all wonder why we stuck in mediocrity. And they went out and they actually they may have gotten a tinge better.
Man,
But not enough to do anything. So
Listen.
once again, they'll get to the play-in
and lose
and lose.
all the day. Yeah. See, I don't even want to get. See, I'm about. I can feel myself getting mad and emotional. So we won't skip past the Bulls. But y'all pray for us. It's hard being a Bulls fan, man. But thank you for being here. So we're gonna get right to it today. We got a lot to talk about. It's Happy Black History Month. As we talked about this with MLK, how like before we were younger, there were MLK ads, Coca-Cola was running stuff. The I Have a Dream Sheet was running all day long. You know what I'm saying? It used to be the same thing Black History Month. Target used to run a whole bunch of campaigns, McDonald's, Toyota, name all these brands, right? And it was like, so-and-so celebrates Black History Month. We are dedicated to, they had a whole script, right? Nothing. I've seen not a thing. You know what I'm saying? I mean, on the websites, they the same. Not even talking about the Grammys, talking about the bowl. You know what I'm saying? They were talking about this All-Star game that sounds stupid with these three teams of world. That's dumb. Yeah, and I know I usually cape for the All-Star game. Can't do it this year. But what is not present, and even with the NBA, you know what I'm saying? It's not present.
No, the
But, I
NBA.
mean, I guess give it time.
They did the what do
They
they
do
call
MLK
it?
every time.
The at the
Black History
beginning of the
Always.
month, they did the
Mhm.
game. I'm trying to figure out what they called it. They did the game where they honored the first black players in the
You are
NBA.
right. You are right.
Um,
You're right.
What was it called?
No, I remember that. But I guess I know they had the black. It may be just I feel like
No, I
I'm not.
think the NBA is doing their thing with it.
And I'll take that back because I will say this: the NBA, and I do strike that the NBA does always make a point to honor Black history. Like the Black History Now always shirts and they did heavy MLK. But I will
The
say,
NBA Pioneers Day.
gotcha, I do remember that
Yeah.
because I think Doc Rivers was a part of that game. Did the
Yeah.
Bucks play or something like
The
that? Yeah.
Bucks played who did they play? Somebody. Anyway, go on. I'm sorry.
No, but I guess the point I'm making is
Boston, they played the Celtics.
those two weird teams. The
Well, that's
Pioneers,
what
anyway.
I was like,
But
why
that's what
they
the
pick
guys
those two
played. It's definitely how
teams?
they played.
Well, no, because Milwaukee didn't have a team.
Yeah, that's weird. Why those guys? Anyway,
But
let's
whatever, whatever.
see.
Yeah.
Yeah, we get off track, man. This again, we're probably proving our own point. But here it is that it's not as prevalent as it is. We're gonna talk about Black History Month later, but we're gonna celebrate it here on the Super Duper Pod as we always do because it's important to us. Should be important to y'all. But before we get into that stuff, we want to do our Chicago check-in. It's our new segment. Before we get into that, got some feedback from the Laura Coates, the crush of the month.
For
Thumbs
real,
up.
where'd it come from?
I'm just saying, different places. That some people agree. You understand? Hey, we
Oh,
not wrong. Hey,
no,
shout
no.
out to Laura Coates. Uh-huh. I get let me stop. My husband come see me. So Chicago check-in. Our weekly check-in for all things Chicago, the shenanigans, the highs and lows of the greatest city on earth. So I wanted to focus on this because it popped up in my feed. The Obama Presidential Library is that's open in June 2026. And depending on what side of town, when you're on the southeast side of Chicago, kind of what area, Jackson Park area, you see all this construction over there, and it's like this beautiful. You can tell the library's coming. They changing around streets, pathways, all kind of ways in buildings since 2021. But it's like you can start to see it coming to form. It looks really beautiful. So it's going to open, they say, June 2026, located in Jackson Park, 19.3-acre campus, man. It'll feature a museum detailing President Obama's presidency, a Chicago Public Branch Library. Now, y'all know I've talked if you know the pod, I love a library. I used to work at a library in college, gave me an appreciation for a library. So we have a Chicago Public Branch Library, and I hope they keep it clean and safe in that thing. A public garden, a forum, and athletic facilities. So they were saying most public libraries are just like paper. You come in, oh yeah, this is the library. They said the largest one is Ronald Reagan's in California, but they want this to be a community space. It's going to be a digitized,
Well,
not.
it's not really a presidential library, right?
I mean, what that's what it's being called. I think the presidential library is on the campus, right? So all of this will be a campus, and
Oh,
then
okay.
the presidential library that you can go into. That's the museum that will be digitized and whatnot
I
for
was gonna
people.
say because nothing is gonna be housed there.
Yeah, it's all digital.
It's
Yeah,
all
it's all
digital.
digital.
Yeah,
All digital.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. So they were saying this will be the 14th physical presidential library. I don't have a list in front of me, but I saw that this will be the one. So this is complete. It'll be the 14th one. So apparently Joe Biden and Trump already kind of have. So like, I guess what they have are collections. People have collections of stuff that could be in the library, but then of course they got to get the money and the funding and the board to make this happen. A guy like President Obama, like you kind of figured he was going to have a library. Trump probably gonna have a super PAC already for his, just to be like, it's gonna be the greatest library you ever seen. You saw this thing about I mean, I don't make it about Trump, with the Kennedy Center being shut down for 2 years. Did you see that?
I saw that. Yeah,
I was like, man, what they about to do to this thing? You know what I'm saying? It's just
it's gonna
like,
be all gold.
you know what I'm saying? Just like,
It's gonna be
I don't
it's
even
gonna
think
be
about what.
no mention of JFK in there.
Listen, I hope they don't send ICE to Chicago in June to mess up the opening of the presidential library, man. Anything's possible, dude.
Might
To what I'm saying, to muck it up because he
might.
hates President Obama, man. But if you guys are trying to plan a trip to Chicago, look for it in June. That's because I'm telling you, I might even I might not even try to go see it as until like 3-4 months later. You know what I'm saying? Because like it's just gonna be what traffic gonna be nuts getting in
Well,
there.
that's what I live over here, so
Yeah, yeah.
I gotta change my route or something to
Sure do. Because you say Lake Shore to get
yeah,
downtown?
yeah.
Ah, because it's right there. Yeah.
I pass by the construction site every day. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when the people start crossing the streets and
yeah,
cars, red light,
yeah.
that first month gonna be the
Because
first 3 months gonna be a doozy.
my question is like, I know there's parking there, but
Hmm.
where's the excess parking gonna be? And
Just on the street. I mean, just like if something was happening on Lake Shore, like well, I guess they used to have the when they had the Chosen Few picnic over in
okay,
there.
but here's the deal though. That was on a Saturday, right? So
Yeah,
there's not much parking over there.
yeah.
You're
But
on
on
the
a Monday,
campus. You're on the campus of the University of Chicago,
yeah.
which is
Hey,
all which they use all that parking up too. So
yeah, that's the listen. So I think they got a parking garage in there. I believe that is a parking garage, kind of because I saw them building that below. What
right,
access to a parking garage, but I don't think there'll be that many cars
that's what I'm
available.
saying.
Yeah,
That's
I'm
what I'm
with you.
saying.
I'm with you, man. But listen, but I mean, we're not. We talking about that, but still a very good thing, especially like you think
No, I'm
about
not. I'm not complaining. I'm
the
not
president
complaining.
that he was and the legacy that he left. It's pretty cool and glad that he has it here in Chicago. I do remember when it was like, we don't need that library. It's like, y'all crazy. Get
Idiots.
this, get this in Chicago. What are y'all doing?
Here's the deal. You brought up how nice it looks. You know, there are people out there that say I don't like it. The structure looks stupid. It looks like a climbing wall.
People just love. I don't even know when that
Shut
started.
up, people.
When it just was like, it's somebody. People just got to be opposite just because. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
They
yeah.
don't even believe. It's just like just to not go with the crowd. And I'm sometimes like that kind of guy. Like I don't watch the show because everybody watching it. But older, I get it's like, hey, I must watch it for a reason. Might be good. You know what I'm
They
saying?
messed up traffic. Actually, it looks nice.
I think it's gonna be fantastic. I think it's gonna be beautiful, man. So shout out to him and his family and his legacy. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we talked about the Super Bowl a bit. So as the Super Bowl is this weekend on Sunday, did you decide were you watching it? You watching it at the crib
I'm gonna be at
what's up?
home. I'm not doing nothing.
Yeah, somebody asked me and I was like, it's not gonna be this big event just because the Bears not in it. I think if the Bears been in it, it'd be all kind of parties happening. You know what I'm saying? Places to go, people not watching it together. Like, okay, if the Bears had made it to the bowl, we talked about this. You would have watched it at home or with a select group of people.
Select group.
Yeah. Because you want to
I wouldn't go to a big party.
Because for what? For
Yeah,
what? We
yeah.
talked about this.
Nah.
People just scream at the TV, don't know what they talking about. People want to talk about everything but the game. I know. I can't do it. I'm out. I'm out. I'm out.
Select group. Select group.
So this is Super Bowl 60. Be played at Levi Stadium in Santa Clara where the 49ers play. Seattle Seahawks versus the New England Patriots. This is a rematch of Super Bowl 40, 49. 12th Super Bowl for the New England Patriots, 10th rematch of Super Bowl history, and Bad Bunny's performing the halftime show. So that's a big deal because of all this. You stand up against ICE and people saying he's not American. It's supposed to be like an alternative halftime show.
Wait. But he is American.
He is American from Puerto Rico. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
He is an American citizen.
yeah.
So what are we talking about?
People don't read, is you
What
don't
are we
read.
talking about?
And so it's supposed to be an alternative halftime show. I don't even know nothing about that. I don't want to know. I'm cool.
I don't need to see that.
Yeah, man, it's just insane. So it should, but I think it's a bit. What's the thing of the game? It should be a good game.
It should be a good game. New England is a tough team. They got a tough coach in Mike Vrabel.
Yeah,
Seattle's defense is
listen,
really good. I
very, very
know
good.
the Rams put up some points on them, but they got a really good defense.
Well, the Rams were
Uh,
good. That's the
the
thing.
Rams,
The Rams were
the
very
Rams were
good.
a
They
good
beat
team.
us.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So it should. I think it's going to be a good game. I think it's going
yeah.
to be a good game. Seattle's 4.5 point favorites, and I think we should get a game on
That
Sunday.
should. I agree.
Yeah.
Now that's because nothing's worse. Well, I will say that one blowout when Seattle did win and beat the Broncos. I just remember it snowed that day really, really bad. So I was shoveling all Super Bowl. But every time I came in, my family was screaming because it was like they beat them like 600-1. It was like every time I came back, they were scoring again. You know what I mean? But they got the prop bets. If you guys don't know, of course, gambling is big with in all sporting now. You got FanDuel, you got DraftKings, you know what I'm saying? You got all these different companies that what's the one that the Gilbert Arenas, the one with the dog. What is that called? Can't think of it.
Uh,
Anyway, but
there's
they have all
FanDuel, there's BetMGM,
yeah,
there's
maybe.
uh,
But they got all these places you can
what's the one
gamble.
I'm on? DraftKings.
Yeah, that's your thing.
Yeah.
So they got all different ways you can gamble because people are gambling on the game, but they have what you call prop bets. I'm sure you heard we've done this before. So I'm gonna give a couple. Of course, heads or tails. That's the biggest, one of the biggest and most common prop bets. Is all these things like I guess heads is one has been called 133 versus 129 times. You know what I'm saying? So it's like do you bet tails or your heads? Whoever wins the coin toss, like it's like they usually win the game. It's all kind of stuff. That's a big one. The Gatorade color. orange, blue, yellow, lime, or lime green, I say. That when that whoever wins, right, they throw that Gatorade. What's the color going to be? How many times they show Cardi B? That's very specific to this
Cardi
one.
B is the celebrity this time, huh?
Yeah, yeah. So 1.5 is the number, is the over under. What do you think, is? How many times they show Cardi B?
It's 1.5,
Yeah,
so you need two for the
I
over.
take the over,
I'm gonna
man.
take the over.
Take the over.
Yeah,
Yeah,
two.
because they were
That's
saying
not much.
they were saying she might perform with Bad Bunny somehow. So it's like, oh, then you dead.
Then that
Yeah,
count. Yeah, yeah.
take the over. Because I mean, now unless they're getting smoked, then it's like, they don't show her. But I think even if they're getting beat, they'll show her twice early on, right?
Well,
So
if he
it's
scores a touchdown
definitely
or
that's
a
one.
big play,
Well, first off, GP when it's like all the celebrity that's here, Cardi B, they're gonna show her, and then if he happens to score and make a good play, they'll show her again. So, and then my favorite is the national anthem. I think it's been sung by Charlie Puth this year,
who is
and
that?
he's like a pop singer. He's actually very good, very very very
Charlie
good.
what?
Puth, Puth.
Puta. Never heard of him.
Yeah, he's great. He's a great singer. He has a lot of good
Okay.
songs that the kids and I like. That
And
I
when I say things like that, it's not that I'm like, trying to throw shade at an artist.
no, yeah,
I just don't
you
keep
don't
up. I
know.
don't
No, I
know.
got you.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
got you. And so the national anthem, 119.5 seconds. So I mean, if Charlie's a white guy, if he's a black guy, I would take the over because they know they
119
yeah.
seconds.
119 and a
Uh
half.
119, a minute 30. I would
That's true. That's two. That's 2 minutes.
I'm gonna take I'll take the over.
See, what I still think about R. Kelly's national anthem at the boxing match, we had people
The
stepping.
stepping.
Oh, the break.
That's why dog in jail right now.
Dang. That was rough. Oh, the breathe. Come on, Kels. He took a pause. Everybody clap. Wait. You messed up the bets, Kels. 3 minutes.
He placed one before it.
Huh?
I said he placed one before it.
Yeah, absolutely. He knew what he was doing. Yeah, put 1,000
I
on
think
the
I think they put limits on those type of bets now too.
just because I
Just
mean,
to
they
yeah,
got to. They got to.
yeah.
Yeah, man. But it should be a good Super Bowl. Make sure wherever you celebrate the Super Bowl, you celebrate responsibly. Be safe. Don't be out here being a fake Seattle Seahawks fan if they win. Like, I don't want to see no Seahawks jerseys because I ain't seen no Seahawks jerseys no other time in the city. You know what I'm saying? Like when Golden State was winning, all of a sudden I see Steph Curry. Now, I guess that's a little different. He's a cultural phenomenon. That's a little different. But like,
No,
if I
no,
see some
I don't
Seahawks
know.
jerseys, come on. Nah, as you can see people wearing Steph jerseys in Chicago.
No,
That's not surprising.
no.
Especially with the Bulls being bad. Come on, dog.
So what?
People wearing a Seahawks
You
jersey.
ride with your
I ain't
team.
never seen a Seahawks
Ride
jersey.
with your team, right?
Okay. Cultural phenomenon, bro.
I'm just
It's like
saying.
people want to
I'm
be
not
like,
in no hate on. I know Steph is that dude, but
yeah.
you ain't never seen me rock a Steph Curry jersey
But all I know, you know, and I know, I'm gonna be in the gym. And
because
somebody gonna have
it's Bulls all day.
if the Seahawks win, people gonna have on Seahawks jerseys, Sonics, hats, all kind of stuff. Like you big dummy. You know what I'm saying? A couple more things is
Shout out to my boys Dylan and Josh out in the Pacific Northwest and
okay.
Idaho and Portland, Oregon. They're big Seattle Seahawks fans. And so
See, now listen. Now if they come to Chicago with stuff, it's all good. But
oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
I'm telling you, I already know.
My man Dylan was at the NFC Championship game.
He's serious. He's
He sent
serious.
me a video of him after the win.
Mhm.
So yeah. That's shout out to them. And yeah,
Okay.
if you're a true fan, I'm all for it.
But like it's gonna be some false flagging the next couple weeks. So shake it down. A couple more things before we get to our heavy topics, man. So as we talked about this a couple weeks ago, the He-Man movie is coming out this summer. And again, I got a special affinity for He-Man. I remember watching the movie with my parents. They fell asleep, but it was cool. I still watched it, and He-Man was just like a big, like even seeing it now at my big age, I felt like a little kid again. Like
Wait,
I
are we
was so
talking about the
excited.
cartoon or the live action
The live action film
Masters
is
of the
coming. Master
Universe?
Universe, yeah, yeah.
That
They're,
movie
they're
was
making a
terrible.
no, no, no. They're making a new one.
I understand they're making a new one. I'm talking about The original.
Oh, no, no, no. Okay. So what I saw, what I'm talking about the cartoon when I'm talking
You
about
talking about the cartoon? That's what
the
I was
love I
asking.
have for it,
Yes,
right?
yes, yes,
But when I
yes,
see the
yes.
live action, it's still like, okay, hopefully they do this right. Now it looks a little goofy.
I hated the live action one.
It looks a little tight. I don't know, man. But hey, never know, man. They
Anyone of
might knock
note
it
in
out
it?
the park. Never know. I mean, because I, it's funny because if you're our age, you know about it, right? But it's been so long, they've tried it so many times. It's like, it this might pop, it might blow. You never know, man. And that'd be pretty cool if it does work out that way. But there's another trailer that's out for the Michael movie. Now
Okay.
you told me you haven't seen it,
I
man. I
haven't
mean,
seen it yet.
okay, I ain't gonna lie. First couple seconds, I was like, okay, but apparently it's Michael Jackson's nephew. I think it's one of Jermaine Jackson's sons that's playing Michael,
Okay.
and Coleman Domingo is playing Joe Jackson. You
Okay.
don't know because you're like, hold on, they got all kind of makeup.
I
Look at
did
him, give him a
see. I
chance.
saw the
You
picture.
saw that?
He looked pretty spot on.
Yeah, and it's like, whoa. And so, even hearing that, so that's just saying it should be pretty cool. And I was thinking about like, I guess you really can't do a biopic unless the person passes and it's been some well, I don't know because I guess they did Ray, but didn't Ray die before it came out, the movie Ray?
He did, but he saw the making
He
of it.
saw the making of it. Okay,
Yeah.
but maybe it's not even about their passing. It just may be distance from their peak. And I feel like Michael Jackson, he was always going to have a peak. You know what I'm saying? As long as he was alive. I don't know. It's just but I think it looks pretty cool. I must say the trailer was very uh intriguing, was engaging. I'm sure they're gonna make a lot of money
Oh,
when they shoot
absolutely.
this for
Absolutely.
sure. And because again, people start to throw dirt on the Michael Jackson name. Like they was saying some people was like Taylor Swift is better than Michael Jackson. I was like, yo, let me turn this pod off. Y'all wow. Like what? Like never in any world is and it was, credit people saying Chris Brown's better than Michael Jackson. It's like Chris Brown's like, no, never in a million
Yeah,
years.
he won't take
He
that.
won't even
He
say it,
won't
you
say
know what I
that.
mean?
Yeah.
And it's crazy. I mean, but truly, like he is the greatest to ever do it. It's not even close. So hopefully this movie does him justice. I think it just goes from his rise from like the Jacksons to like being Michael Jackson, you know what I mean? Like to being just the dude with the glove, you know what I'm saying? And that's pretty cool. They always joke about how Michael could just come on the stage, don't say a word, people start falling out. That got to be something, man. Like, just walk up in Target, everybody start dropping like flies. Like, I take your cash, thank you, appreciate the snacks. I'm gonna head on out of here, man. But I definitely check out the Michael movie. I think it should be pretty cool.
Is
Directed by
it? Did I hear
Supa.
it's supposed to be two parts?
I'm not sure about that. So what? Like what's so they gonna do? They gonna get to the stuff before he died in the second part?
I I I don't know.
Oh
That's what
wow.
somebody said. I don't know.
Okay, we'll see. But check out the
So
first one. I
it
guess
might
you'll
be a
find out.
to be continued.
Like and he be like on stage, and then it's like the
Uh,
police coming. I don't know. Who knows? We'll see. So
uh,
that should be a good one. Should be a good
uh.
one, man. So, all right, as I'm trying to get the jokes out, because we got a couple of heavy things to discuss today. Um, so we know where we live and what's been going on, and the news is always blowing up with something. And I was listening to a podcast, the Reveal podcast, heard on Spotify, and it was talking about Trumpism in our communities. Now we talk about Trump. I mean, pretty much everybody talks about Trump all the time. You turn on any news channel, this literally he's leading every day. I just don't know when the brother take a break. Just he's always doing in the mix of something. And you hear about Greenland, you hear about Iran, Ukraine, China, right? All kind of things. Him now, what's now trying to nationalize the elections, ICE, right? But this podcast,
What does that mean?
so pretty much they want the federal government to take over elections. So here's how contradictory it is because on other issues like give it to the states, let the states handle this stuff. Now this is like but he wants to nationalize it, but only in certain places, Atlanta, Philadelphia, right? Places, Detroit, places that pretty much are
That where
predominantly
it's going
black
and it
and
could be
predominantly
close.
Democratic, right? Like, I was telling somebody, we talked about this on Wednesday, family night. Like Illinois, when you go down South Illinois, it's truckers, it's red
Well,
all
yeah,
over the place.
anything South I-80.
Yeah, so the only reason we carry really we're a blue state is because of Chicago and the Chicagoland area, right? It's just this that carries. So like his thing is if the federal government is like so much fraud and so much from his standpoint, so much fraud, and we need to nationalize it and take care of protect the voting system. So of course they'll rig it because he knows this was about to happen in in November. That's what's happening because it's just bad. People can't vote for this again. So you know what I mean? And so he knows it's coming. So he's trying to make it first, trying to throw dirt on the voting system. So if and when his party loses, he can say it's rigged. We should take care of it. I think also it's not just about this election. It's probably about it's the next election, right, for the next president. This probably might be his way to try to stay in office some kind of weird way. So this it can't happen. And I think even people who are in his party can't. We can't go down this road because there's no coming back from it, man. But this podcast, the Reveal podcast, talked about just Trumpism in our community. So the first thing was about Doge in Jacksonville, Florida. So we talked about Doge a lot with Elon Musk, and that was what, like good 3-4 months. No, it was about what 8-9 months. Say they had Doge, they was in there, and they're supposed to be the Department of Government
It
Efficiency.
wasn't that long. It
Wasn't that long? Okay, I just know it was
about
over. I know he
four or
was
five
out pretty
months.
quickly.
4 or 5
Okay,
months.
so probably in between, I got you.
Yeah.
And so, the thing is, so apparently people were trying to mimic this Doge kind of office and department in other states. So notably Florida. So there was a guy who was like, "We're going to start our own Doge here in Florida," and mainly like in Jacksonville, Florida, man. And it was crazy because they were saying the city of Jacksonville has to reduce its budget by like $100 million inefficient. And they were like, "Well, tell us what's inefficient." I just know it's inefficient. It's like, wait, what? It's like, and their budget was like $1 billion. So it's like you just chopping off 10% just because you say it. You know what I mean? It's like it's not like we're even operating at this big profit margin of sorts, right? It's like we are moving stuff around. Okay, yeah, we can have some government efficiency, but it's like the person who was noted as the Doge person in Florida could never give out receipts and say, this is where the money, just was throwing out numbers. They would show us receipts, show us where. If you show us, we'll fix it. Never could. But all I have to say is like that idea is just trickling down into the states, and people are mucking up, holding up votes, what I'm saying, holding up voting, holding up all kind of things just to be like, yeah, it's not efficient because they're trying to make a name, right, for themselves, get noticed by the White House, and then ultimately brought up to like, be put somewhere to say, I'm a yes man, I'm on your side. Another one was so in Idaho, there were Republicans versus Republicans fighting over migrant workers in Idaho. There was a woman who's a state representative. She also owned a potato kind of business in a potato production company in Idaho. She used migrant workers. Now she is a Republican, conservative, voted for Trump, all this stuff, but she hired migrant workers, someone undocumented, what I mean? She was like, I can't trust all their papers. It was like, they know they weren't documented, but okay. Okay.
They
So
definitely know.
apparently, when it came down to it, and of course Trump is all on ice, we gotta get everybody out here. Then they would, and it's not just her location; it was all kind of businesses in Idaho that was like, all right, we're getting everybody up out of here. And so they pretty much called her out. Well, they said we got to get these migrant workers out of here. It's not good. And she said, hey, I know what you guys are saying, but these people are a fabric of our community and you will wreck a lot of businesses. And they were like in the call, checking her, calling her crazy kind of names. And then they pretty much called a raid on her company, her own Republican Party people called a raid on her company. ICE got the people out to paint, deported a lot of people who work for her location. And of course, her business is suffering because of it. And now she's like a pariah at a location. It's talking about a lot of people who are Republicans are now going independent in that state because it's like, we're turning against each other. It was a bar in Idaho, according to this podcast, Getting Revealed podcast, that was giving out free beers for people who were like actively getting people deported, right? And they were having meeting nights about how to deport people and how to, pretty much snitching on these companies that were still like giving haven or jobs to migrant workers, right? This is in Idaho, and you don't hear about this stuff, right? Because we're hearing about Minnesota. The last thing was about indigenous people in Montana. So there was a bill signed by President Biden. I thought I wrote it down. I have it in front of me, but it was to pretty much allow electricity, solar. I think it was called Solar for All, right, in places like Montana for indigenous people. So essentially, when indigenous people are allowed to, the deal we made, the deal I shouldn't say we, the deal America made with the indigenous people is that, you can be sovereign, right? You can run your own spots. We'll give you space, and that's in exchange for some of the land, yada yada yada. Sounds like a raw deal, but pretty much you're on your own. We're gonna leave you alone. So because that they don't have a grid, and then in rural spaces, these places, they can't like build a connective grid because places are far apart. So they were saying some of these people have an electric bill is of like $800 a month for like a two-bedroom house because they have to like pay for all these things. So there was this bill, Solar for All, that President Biden signed in 2024, that would allow for grants to go to these areas for them to build solar panels. And I have solar panels, like they help a lot, right? And to build solar panels throughout these areas so the bills would go down. Of course, it would increase jobs in this area. People would get more technical skills because again, these indigenous people, they kind of living, to themselves, but this would give them additional skills that maybe they can make bigger, more payments in America as well. So Trump's office, when they got in the Doge and all this stuff, they cut it because they were like, well, this is pass-through money. The people aren't getting it. That necessarily wasn't true. Usually when they do grants and bills like this, it has to go through organizations to pass it through to the community because the government's not coming just to Montana. They got the money and they set up the process so it can be given to people and given out, right? But of course, they made the case like, no, this is fake money. Y'all not using it right. And only so many people got the grants. So now these people, as they were waiting for this money, they were trying to get it, and people, elderly people, like they can't afford their bills. And they were kind of building around the solar plant happening, and they said the cost was $7 million. I'm thinking like, do you know how much we burning
Yeah,
$7 million
yeah.
dollars? Trump blew about 50 million on defacing the White House. You see what I'm saying? They could have gave him 14. You know what I mean? But this is what's happening, and these are stories we don't hear about. And that's again, we talk about. I feel like we just repeat ourselves, and people just being stupid. But it's like that's why this voting stuff matters. It's like the stuff that makes the news is the things that are distracting. I gave you three separate instances, right, in three parts of the country that are like literally affecting how cities are run after a year and a half of Trumpism. So please, about 260 some days to the midterm elections. Okay, that's what I'm doing every week. Is 253. I know what that means. Okay,
And you know what? I think our Zoom doesn't pick up
slapping.
your slapping sound. Yeah.
Okay, hey, but you see it. You see what I mean? See what I'm doing? See, even Zoom against his ass.
Oh
I
man,
don't
that's
care,
funny.
man. No, no, but serious. But all jokes aside, I mean, again, I know I just dropped it on your ass, but it's like that podcast arrested me, dog. I was just sitting there just listening, like, you got this is. I
Yeah.
had no clue, just zero
On
clue
the
this
on
was
the
even
migrant
happening.
workers, I know that's going on a lot
Yeah,
around the
absolutely.
entire country.
Obviously that one, right? That's all the places. But go ahead.
Where you got a lot of especially when it comes to um, jobs in agriculture and things like
Yeah,
that, where there are not a lot of Americans that are willing to do that type of work, and so
mhm,
it was given to migrants will come and they'll do that, and without the migrants, they weren't coming in because they were scared
yeah,
that they would get picked up by ICE or get deported.
mhm,
They're not able to find, the farmers aren't able to find people to help with the harvesting of crops and that type of thing.
yeah.
So that's a tough situation, man.
Well, speaking of farm,
And that hurts all of us.
did you ever watch that High Horse documentary on
I
Peacock?
did. I did watch it.
What'd you think of it?
I did. It was good. It was
But
good.
what I'm talking about. When I was like, yo, when you watch this, it kind of messed you up for a minute. Like, doggone, can't have
Yeah.
nothing, man. And I mean, how they, because when we talk about the farmers, think about the black farmers who won that settlement, but it was like, they had gone through all this just to get their farm and their lands, right? And it's like the hold up was it the USDA? That was the department that was
Yeah.
pretty much,
Yeah.
yeah. And it was like, yo, what is going on? This is insane. But yeah, but back to, so again, you guys gotta pay attention. Again, we talk about it. Please listen to Reveal. Check out the Native Land Pod. Check out Higher Learning on the Ringer and the SDP. But read it for yourself. Even watch Laura Coates. What's up, Laura Coates? On CNN. But you got you
The fool.
got you got to see it for yourself because this stuff is happening right in front of you. You know, people who are out here, stumping. You know, honestly, at this point, I mean, it's about Trump, right? But it's really just about the fabric of what this nation is supposed to be, right? And I mean, everybody's saying, we don't need this government's too big until you need it. Like, I mean, and again, you see these stuff. I know we probably saw President Biden sign this bill and thought nothing of it because it's not affecting where maybe where you live. But like this grant will allow people to, imagine your electric bill being 8 times more than it needs to be. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, and you're not making money like that, right? It's not like you got a $100 bill because you got 14 rooms, 3 movie theaters, you know what I'm saying, a bowling alley in your crib. Okay,
Right.
then your bill should be a band actually,
Right.
just for ridiculousness. But I mean, you just got a regular house, and it, you know what I'm saying, and your bill $800. And so, and one woman was talking about like she doesn't want to pass the home down, or she's nervous about passing down because she doesn't know what the bills are going to be. So then, so then this property that this indigenous families worked for, they're gonna end up losing. They're giving up, or just losing outright, right? Because of this factor that the government, previous administration found a solution for. The current one is like, nah, we cool. We're gonna put this on the side of a building. So yeah. And the last thing, we talked about Black History Month at the top of the pod because I wanted to do a deeper dive into it. I was listening to another podcast. I wonder how do I have all this time to listen to pods? I don't know. I listen
Yeah,
to a
you
pod.
listen to a lot of
I
podcasts,
do,
man.
man. But I got an hour drive to work. Cooking, I'm fixing stuff for kids. I'm working out, man. It's just I throw in a pot in a minute. Listen to another pod, Code Switch. That's one of my favorite podcasts. One of my first podcasts I was listening to, and they were kind of talking about not kind of they were talking about the 100th anniversary of Black History Month. It's actually celebrated this year. Well, it's the 100th anniversary of Negro Week, but and the 50th anniversary of Black History Month. Again, the myth is debunked. It's always, of course, they gave us February because it's the shortest month of the year. You see how they do us? And it's really just for your own edification. It started out as Frederick Douglass Day. Then it was honoring Frederick Douglass and President Lincoln because of the emancipation. And then it just expanded from there. So he's kind of stuck with the Genesis and stayed in February. So it wasn't like, all right, we'll give you our February because we'll be out of here faster. It wasn't that. It just
So
happened.
so we have to blame Frederick Douglass then, right?
Sure, why not? And if his parents get sure,
I
okay.
joke, I
That's our
kid.
episode. Blame Frederick Douglass. And so that's the title of the episode. Absolutely. Oh, racism. So yeah, but this also as coincides with the 250th year anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. Because the older you get, the more you learn about history. And it's like, it used to be, yeah, July 4th, 1776. Nah, everybody wasn't free, dog. Everybody wasn't.
No, no,
It's,
no.
it's a celebration for some. But the Juneteenth is a real joy. I mean, truly, it's just why don't and people hate it, but it's like wow, that's when everybody was actually free. But that's another pod for another day. We called out the Williams for that. But it got me thinking just about Black History Month, 'cause like we said before, when it used to be Black History Month was everywhere, you could see it happen. And shout out to my church. We do a lot of big Black History Month stuff, Progressive Baptist Church here in Chicago. But I was thinking about my evolution of Black history, right? In elementary school, like I saw a picture earlier, I might send to Sarah of like, you did they give you a Black history person, right? I think I had Martin Luther King and you do your speech. I'm very okay. I did civil rights, you know what I'm saying? And on the wall they had the stuff for years. They put it all around the edges. And you saw, what I'm saying? You saw Ida B. Wells and Carter G. Woodson and Garrett Morgan. Now that's everybody's. Now, if you went to a grammar school like mine, where it's like it was all Black students. You know what I'm saying? Even I had a white principal and a couple white teachers. There was a lot of Black teachers, a lot of Black students. And so like it was Black history all the time, right? And you just kind of learned that we learn. I remember singing Young Gifted and Black as a
Yeah.
little kid, learning that word for word, the National Black Anthem, learning about Kwanzaa. It was a Catholic school, right? I'm saying, but it was still just like they hit us with everything. And shout out to World. He gave me the first Black history person that I was like committed to memory was Benjamin Banneker because World gave me a book when I was a shorty, man, just like here, Robbie, read this book on Benjamin Banneker and Frederick Douglass, and I remember I've always been good at math, and Benjamin Banneker was a mathematician,
Hmm.
so that was my guy, right? For that's who I always thought about, and I'm doing well at school, right? And I remember that just being, but it was more like, you memorizing facts, right? You're just thinking of people and names, and over time you start to know it's the same names, the same people, and the same things. And you get into high school, and it just started to become not that we got away from it, but it was like, I went to a predominantly white high school, a college preparatory school. And so the Black history was more, we had anthologies, right? And that's where we did the performances of like we got to perform our stuff and we got to show the school we are Black history in the present, in the flesh, you know what I'm saying? So, but we was just like singing Erica Badu songs, the gospel choir sang, you know what I'm saying? It just was like our time to shine and show off the student union. But once you hit March, we was on to something else. And
Hmm.
so, when I got to college, I was, the Black Student Union when it went to a PWI. And, the Black history just became a reminder of what we could be. And actually, when I got to Williams, and you guys now going to Williams College, see the flag right there, that changed my definition of what black was. Not changed, but it's like I would say it enhanced it, right? Because in Chicago, most people are from the South, right? Most people from Mississippi, Tennessee, Alabama, right? And they came up to Chicago, got similar stories, fighting slavery, fighting, cook collard greens, you eat spaghettis and barbecues, that kind of stuff. And then I go to school out east, and that's not everybody's story. People are from, Caribbean islands, and people are from Africa, right? And they have, in some instances, they had a different kind of a different twist on what the black culture was to them, which was different than what mine was, right? But now but at this PWI, it didn't matter. Like we were all these black students, and it was crazy because that's when I started seeing the divisions among black people. Because there wasn't a bunch of us; it was like 215 of us, but we had a black student union, we had a Caribbean student union, had an African student union. I think it has like some other student union. It's like, hey man, well, I'm staying, I'm just stay with one. But you started to see how everything
So
became
you had,
fractured and
yeah,
how black was different. And just curious, like for you, because I know you went to HBCU. Like, what did you? How did you guys deal with Black History Month at your HBCU? Or was it like Black History Month all year long?
I guess it was all year round because
Yeah, yeah,
we
yeah.
honestly, I can't remember like there being
Black History Month.
there may have been, some performances or, something that Ogden Hall was where like you know, that's where the theater was and,
Yeah,
you know, but I don't remember like there being specifically like Black History events that were going on throughout February. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? And maybe it was because it wasn't anything special throughout the year. We were doing stuff throughout the year, so
yeah. And,
maybe that's why. So it wasn't specific Black History.
I got you.
Um,
And I think for us, it was just like trying to mark our place at the school, right? Because it's like,
yeah, yeah. We didn't have to worry about that.
yeah, see, but for us, we did. It's like
Yeah,
we had to be like a collective unit, everybody looking for each other. And I remember a lot of, she's and I were on the board, and I think it was like trying to make sure we just kind of kept everybody together because stuff got started getting, people started going different ways, and also too, relationships between people and who were black and not black was getting a little bit better. So some people were just hanging out with non-black people, and it was cool. So they feel like they didn't need the union. But like for some people like me, it's like the union was a safe space because at the school you are meeting with people from Minnesota and all the places that they're not like you. So you probably got to translate a little bit different. You want to say bands, but you have to say 1,000 because you don't know they don't know what you mean. You know what I'm saying? You got and it's like when you didn't want to translate, you didn't want to have to laugh at some jokes or like be like, what is that? I don't know what that means. You wanted to
yeah.
be safe. You went to the Black Student Union, but then you can kind of like I can just you know
So
y'all know what I'm trying to say.
the crazy thing. So we didn't have obviously we didn't have a Black student union
Yeah.
because there
The
was
whole
no
school's a black
need.
student. Yeah,
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 right. But we did have you had state clubs.
yeah.
So there was the Illinois pre-alumni and the New York, New Jersey pre-alumni and the DC, Maryland, Virginia. They had everybody had different
Sure.
West Coast alumni. that sort of thing. So maybe that's what we did in order to
Okay, so it became more
became more
regional.
regional.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah.
right.
But also in college, that's when it was showing to me that like we had to put on it. Like if we didn't do nothing for Black History Month, well, nothing happening. You know what I'm saying? Like the
Yeah,
school wasn't. I
yeah.
mean, they'll mention it, but it's like we had to put it on. I remember we were doing events and we planning stuff and planning trips and in the Constitution, you couldn't go nowhere for winter study because you had to plan for February. You know what I mean? That was like a big deal to get participation. Like even that, like getting people to participate because again, everybody had a different idea of what black was, and I started, but maybe before I would knock it because it's like you going to get your own people, but it's like I had to realize if there's a black person who never grew up around black people, right? Like they never did, and it's like they were the only black person there, how can I expect them to know how to operate or be with other black people? You know what I'm saying? They may not just feel comfortable. Just you know what I'm saying? It's like they just and so I started to give a little grace to people because if they would try to come in, they get clowned for not for a bunch of reasons. But it's like, well, you can't if they don't know, you gotta give them a chance. You know what I'm saying? Like to sit in and understand this is the other side that you never got to be, or you never felt cool enough or black enough or what have you, man. So that was something. I think once I got out of college, Black history just became, you just can't forget to do it, right? You start to get going to work and commercial, like the job ain't celebrating it. Like, so like at church, my home church out the Hopeful, like I would do like Black History Month events or like we went to see a movie, like went to the Youth Cyber Museum. But after having kids, Black History Month has become more important to me because it's like it's a burden to keep it alive, especially now with all information being threatened to change, right? Stories being changed. And, I think about even my kids, like I talked about my experience, right? It's like, even though I went to this Catholic school, it was all black school. It's kind of like your HBCU. Like, we just was talking about black stuff all year round. I saw black people all the time. Like, it was black history around me, but I can look at my kids. And I think that school actually does a good job. But it was like, February is Black History Month. They hit it, but then once March hits, they on to something else. And so like there's some things I'm thinking y'all should know this, and they don't. And so like, well, that's on me. During the pandemic, I was doing a Black History Month factoid every day, right? Because we were doing the studying from home, and so I was like, "Ah, well, y'all gonna learn this stuff now, right?" And we talk about Trump, we talk about racism, we talk about these things, but it's like you gotta still tell the story. Because when I think about, because even in the podcast, I'm talking about Code Switch, the guy who wrote a book is called I'll find the title of the book, but he was talking about just Black History Month just can't be this factoid thing. Like, who's the first person to do this? Who made this? Right? I mean, even though that's helpful, it's like, what does that really do? Right? At the end of the day, what does that ultimately do? Like, are we really passing along the story that we're trying to get? Give me a second. Jarvis. Screw it. I'll find the name of the book and I put in the notes. I think the guy's name is Jarvis Green. But it was on the Code Switch's latest episode about Black History Month. And so but he was saying, we have to think about just how the people were living and what how that affects what we're doing now, right? Because he was even talking about how, and I kind of knew this, but the way he said it, just it kind of was like, that's crazy how repeating ourselves. He was like, back then, of course, people were trying to stop this Black History Month movement. Like they were writing stories and books that were saying the slaves were happy and well taken care of and happy being slaves. Like, yo,
That's crazy.
are you serious? Right.
Yeah.
And it's like, we know now, like we know the truth, but back then, if there's no internet, there's no way to get news around. You get this pamphlet, you thinking, why are they so mad? Why are they so angry? This is what the book says.
Yeah.
And so that's why again this conversation about who's writing history, what's correct, right? What's real. Like I saw how they took off some slave names off of George Washington monument recently.
In Philly,
And
the
yeah, and it's like, yeah,
the
yeah. But
president's house.
yeah, and it's like, hey, that's slaves. What are we doing? You know what I'm saying? Even some of the stuff, I think we talked about it before with Jackie Robinson, they were some removing some things about him. And like a person like Jackie Robinson, we talked about this a couple episodes ago. We were talking about he was something we talked about all the
Yeah.
time. And we barely talk about him now. You know what I'm saying? Like we rarely like after that last episode, I was thinking I'm a lean more to Jackie Robinson just with like it's some people that we even though I was like why are we repeating the same names? There are some people that we should know. They're like they're just pillars that you should just remind kids to know. And what the pod was saying, which I also agree, but then we got to add to it, right? I will say it always felt like we were at civil rights, then we jumped right to President Obama. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? He was the new picture. But there was so many people
There's
in
so much that,
between
yeah,
there,
yeah.
right? And it's like we have to document that stuff. And there's people now, even though it maybe feels like we're not doing a lot, I mean, it feels like we are
How
only
we got to Obama.
exactly. And
Um,
because it wasn't, he just didn't pop out of nowhere, right? And he'll tell you that. But
yeah.
even still, like even though it feels like now we follow celebrities, you know what I'm saying, depending on what they do, and you don't want to do that because they might end up in them files.
Yeah.
So you want to be careful with that, man. But there are people, and so I think Black history isn't this like it's called Black history because we're talking about the past, but as Dr. Williams always said, we are living in history right now. What we did yesterday is considered history. You know what I'm saying? And we just haven't got to the history that's in the future waiting for us. So it's an ever evolving picture. Like even though like I'm a generation away from sharecroppers, my kids are two generations, right? But they should know that your grandma and your papa picked cotton and what that meant. You know what I'm saying? And what that still means today. You know what I mean? And it's always like my pastor was preaching. He said one of the young members of the church was saying like why, and it was like a teenager was like why can't Black people get over what happened? It's like, but
No, you got to answer that question.
exactly. But he was saying, they had the conversation.
Yeah.
It's like, but for that to be a question means maybe you don't have an understanding of like what the heck happened, right?
Yeah.
And why it still matters. But again, is that our fault? Because are we talking about it enough? You know what I'm saying? Like, are we sharing enough? And it's like, we talk about it. The people before, like my parents had a very specific way about thoughts about racism in life and whatnot because it's like it was affecting their everyday life.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It was like life or death in some instances. It affected how what they ate, where they went, who they talked to. So they ain't gonna forget some stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when they see progress, it's like that's progress. You know what I'm saying? And it's like I went to a PWI, got to know a couple folks. It's like, is this progress? Right? Maybe is it? But it's like, it's just a few of us here. What about the rest of us, right?
Right.
That are that may not be able to get an education like this, right? What does that mean? And even now we talk about it often. You think about the complaints you have about Grammys and Oscars and whatever awards, and it's like are we looking for validation from other people? Do we do validation for ourselves? I listen to a lot of pods that talk movie pods talk about stuff that I ain't seen. You know what I mean? These are great films. But what about when Brown Sugar getting the Lifetime Achievement Award? What I'm saying? Like it's not right, but it's more of how do we handle it, and I think it's something that we have to. I don't think it's a struggle; it's just something we have to be intentional about, and not just we say it all the time. It's not a February thing. It's just a lifestyle, right? And it's not just about. It's about the life. Like we didn't just pop up like where we are. You know what I'm saying? Like we didn't. And you said it perfectly as Obama didn't just show up as President Obama. It's a lot of people that he followed, he mimicked his work after, learned from that got him to be where he is. And there's somebody who's going to build off of President Obama and become whatever is next. So Black history is ever evolving. Happy Black History Month. We're not waiting to the end of the month to kind of get it in just to say we did. We'll try to do this all month. So thank you for checking out the Super Duper Pod. We do not take your listens lightly. Make sure you follow us on all socials, SUPADPAPOD, online at HP53productions.com, and on YouTube at HP53 Productions. Ayers, did I miss anything?
No, I think you covered it all.
Let's go.
Well, take care of yourselves and each other. Hey, mama, this is the Supa Dupa Podcast.
That's champagne, real pain, champagne from you and I. Wait, you and I? Now that's champagne if you was I. Would you be off on this campaign? Is it suicide if you know that bringing hope here is how careers die? Or do the K stand for kamikaze? The J silent is everywhere, you can feel them probably. Sure then, lately, I've been up late with demons in my basement trying to get me to hate this. Life thinking I should be further and then I choke up. As soon as I got silent, then the truth spoke up. It said, how you know you ain't perfect? Let that soak up and soak in. You know how you know that you blessed? I woke up, feeling oh my God, feeling myself, know why? Cause I woke up. That's all it takes to be great, y'all. That's all it takes. I woke up in a special way. Knew I wasn't good. Hey, go home. So I woke up, I woke up, I woke up this morning with my mind. Bounce.